Today we're going to do a video highlighting some of the features of the Skillard heel plates, as well as going over some of the basic installation. These are available from Skillard.com. So first thing, we'll just look at the part. These are CNC cut from 080 aluminum. You can see, if we get the light right, they have the embossing for a little extra rigidity. The sides are formed down. These ones that are for the Z cars have the Z cut out in the bottom. And one of the things that makes these a little bit different is that they're installed with hinges and a latch. So that way when you install them in your car, you can quickly unlatch them to access underneath them if you wanted to clean, or if you drop something and it got stuck under there, you don't have to unbolt the whole thing to get it out. So these are available, like you can see here, black powder coating or raw aluminum. And this is the driver's side, but passenger side is also available, and installation will be very similar. First thing is, when you get it, is to install the hinges. And so the hole spacing on the hinges are different from one side to the other. So if you tried to install it like this, the holes wouldn't line up. And you can see the knuckle here, and you could flip it over and install it this way, but it won't bolt in quite as smoothly. So this is the orientation. It goes underneath, lines up with the holes that are pre-cut. You'll take some of the M4 hardware, that'll install. There's 3 holes for each hinge. And then you'll use one of the M4 lock nuts, thread it on the back, get this hinge tightened in, and then you put the second hinge in that butts up right next to it. Okay, so now that the hinges are in, you can see them here. Part of the reason for 2 is that if where you're mounting it isn't quite even, you have a little bit of adjustability on an uneven surface. And then the other neat thing about this is that because of the way this installs, you can actually raise and lower this and install it where you want it, rather than it having to sit all the way down or up too high. So you want to get it lined up where you're going to have the best driving feel when you secure this into the car. I recommend not actually, if you don't have carpet or insulation, I recommend not actually putting this edge all the way down on the metal, because then you'll get some vibration noises. So it's going to be a little bit better if you have it slightly off a bare metal floor. So now that the hinge is on, the next prep is going to be the latch. And so you have these quick push button latches, and it can go on either side. I prefer to put it out here closest to the door. So in this case, it would be on the left side on the driver's side, and then on the passenger side, it would be on the right side, just so it's easier to reach in and pop it up. But you could put it on either side, depending on if you had anything that would interfere with it underneath the car. But basically, we're taking the nut off. This slides into the hole, and then we'll thread this on the back, get it tightened up. Then in the other hole, one of these plugs will come with it, and then these plugs actually pop in to fill that hole, and it gives you the versatility of switching and picking either side you want the latch to go in. So now that the heel plate's prepped, the next step would be to install it in the car. And what I like to do is I like to set it in there, position it, play around with it, make sure that it is in the right spot. You maybe even grab like little spacers or blocks or just whatever, so you can kind of move it up and down a little bit to make sure that it's comfortable height for your feet. This is the pin that comes with the latch here, and so with this, it just pops in locks in place, and then, you know, this is going to be into the floor of the car, but when you're ready to open it, you push this, hinges right up. So after I have the positioning set in the car where I want it, I'll mark and drill the holes that I'm going to use to mount these hinges in. So that way I make sure it's locked into place front to back. And there's a few different ways to do that. So it comes with 4 M4 machine screws. So even though there's 6 holes up here, there's mounting hardware for 4. You don't need to use all 6 of them. I use 2 in each hinge. So you have the machine screw, so a couple options there. You drill, you can put the screw through the hole, and then you can use a washer and a lock nut on the back side to hold it in place. Best bet if you're going through carpet or, you know, some of the factory insulation. If you're putting it in bare metal, it does come with some riv nuts, so you could drill and then install the riv nuts for just a little bit cleaner look on the underside. If you don't want to mess with any of that, it comes with some sheet metal screws, and they're a little bit long, but the thing that I like about these is if you end up, like underneath there on the Z car, there's the frame rail that runs, and chances are, depending on your position, you might have one of these holes that ends up in there, so you can't get to the back side. Which, if you're installing a riv nut, it doesn't matter. But if you're trying to attach with a nut, you're not going to be able to get a nut on the back side. And these get a lot of bite. And especially if you're going through carpet or something like that, you don't want it to end up too short. So this gives you a good option if you want, especially if you're going to be pushing it through where the frame rail is. And that's really the intention of this. Next thing is that after that's attached to the front, what I like to do is I like to mark the center of where this latch is, and then we'll drill the hole in the floor to put this pin in, and you can see that it's threaded, and so you have adjustability that you can adjust this up and down. So depending on where you mounted this up on the under the pedals, you'll be able to either have it angled back, angled up, or flat, and you'll be able to adjust it with this threaded pin. And once you get it where you want, you'll have the nut and washer on the top side going through the floor like this, and then you'll put the washer and nut on the bottom side, and once you get the height where you want it, tighten that top and bottom, and it'll lock that in place. So then you push the latch, hinges up and down, nice and quick and easy. So now the thing is on the off side, the side that you don't have the latch on, which in this case is going to be over here, you end up with needing support over here. And so what we have are these rubber bumpers. So it's the same idea as installing this pin, except for you're going to install that, and it's going to go underneath, and it's going to be a nice soft stop for this when you're using it. On the passenger side, it doesn't have this cutout here, and so the forming goes up and overall makes this really rigid. So you're just going to get one bump stop on the passenger side plate that would go over here. On the driver's side, how it has the cutout, so that way you don't have any interference with the gas pedal, and when it hinges up and down, it clears the gas pedal too, is that you'll actually get 2 of these. And what I did in my car is I put one back here, underneath obviously, one back here to support it, and then I put another one right up in here. So that way this thing's rock solid when it drops down. You know, I can go in and I'm standing on it, and I don't have to worry about having any flex in here. And so it's a nice and supportive, but it still gives you the option to hinge it up and down nice and easily. And so with these, it comes with nuts, washers, and then 2 lock washers for the driver's side and 1 lock washer for the passenger side that would allow you to install those. Oh, look who we have here, right over here. Indigo, the shop dog, she's taking a nap. So, yeah, so look on the website and we'll have some installed pictures of these in the car. And again, these are available from Skillard.com. Comes with all the mounting hardware, a couple different options to install the hinge. Available just driver or just passenger side, available as a set, available raw aluminum and powder coated black. Comes with everything you see here to install it.